Hi, this is Sword in the Darkness, and while I've been hanging around the Game of Thrones and the Song of Ice and Fire community for a while now, I've yet to be brave enough to present my own theories. But I've decided it's time, so bear with me while I put on my floppy ears and dive in. I have some different theories that I'd like to present, but I'm going to start out with just a short introduction of myself so you'll have an idea of where my videos will be coming from. I'm currently on my second reread of the books, and I can't tell you how many times I've watched the episodes of the HBO series, as well as reading the short stories. But no matter how many times I read or watch, I will never claim to be an expert because I'm always learning and discovering new things. And all of my videos are going to be strictly my opinion with whatever I can find to back them up with. But I've seen some really great videos out there. There are some really awesome YouTubers out there with some amazing videos. And I've read some very thought-provoking Reddits. So I will never, ever, ever, ever claim to be an expert, even given my readings. I'm always finding new things. So while I give you my opinions, I won't claim to be an expert on them. And I'll gladly appreciate any comment that you can possibly give me about Game of Thrones is that we have so many theories out there and we have predictions, all kinds of predictions. And even every prediction, there's always George, and he makes our predictions kind of funny. We also have hunches, and we have one of the most important things, and that is swag, which quite frankly is just scientific wild ass guesses. And of course, we have tinfoil. And there's nothing wrong with tinfoil. I like tinfoil. Tinfoil is fun. But it's all irrelevant when it comes down to it. I think every theory is valid until it's disproven. And in Game of Thrones, there's only one way to disprove it, and that is George. All hail George. Now, you may ask how I feel about the book versus the show. I read and I watch the shows, and I look at the same as I do with any book or movie. I read for edification, and I watch shows or movies for entertainment. I look at it as a trip down a country road as opposed to an interstate highway. They're going to get you to the same place at the same destination, but the scenery is going to be vastly different. The books are so rich and so full of information. The show is entertaining. It's fun. I like them both very much. It's almost impossible to compare the two. They are going in the same direction, but either trip is fun. And then again, you have to look at it like Jon Snow. And he told Arya in book one that different roads sometimes lead to the same castle, and that is very, very true. Now, what I'm going to be doing here is the 30-day challenge as my first video. I want to start out with something pretty simple and basic to get my feet wet and get some feedback. I'm not going to do all 30 days this time. I'm going to break it up into 10 days per video and try to get them all out in the next few days. And then I'm going to dig in and start giving you some of my ideas. This is just basically I'm taking this challenge for as I get to know me, have an idea of how I look at things, and that way you'll know whether you think my videos will be entertaining or not. And with that being said, I have to do this. Spoiler, spoiler, spoiler. If you have not seen seasons 1 through 6 of the HBO Game of Thrones series or read books 1 through 5 of the Song of Ice and Fire series, I first have to ask you why not, and then I have to say seriously, if you wish to remain like Jon Snow and know nothing until you find out on your own, then please stop here and come back when you do, and I hope you enjoy it. So that all being said, let's dig in. We'll start with day one and my favorite male character. Well, that's going to be Jaime, and not for Jaime specifically, but I just enjoyed his story arc so much. He went through so many things, and a lot of people on the show have. I mean, almost everybody on the show has. But I like his story arc mostly because of the fact that what he is becoming is what he's led a conflicted life. What he has, what's inside of him, and the persona that he has to show people are vastly different things. And it's a conflict, inner conflict, and he's becoming more himself and less what people expect him to be. I mean, being labeled Kingslayer at a very young age, it's something that he's had to wear around like an albatross, and he's just now starting to come into his own and becoming who he was meant to be or who he really was inside. Next, we're going to go with day two, and that is my favorite female character. And I'm going to have to say Arya, and the reason for that being kind of the same reason. Her story arc has been amazing. A lot of women out there have been through a great deal, but the thing I enjoy most about her is the fact that all of these other female characters have gone through a great deal, but they've always had somebody around them. Granted, not always the best people, especially like in Sansa's case, but there's always been somebody there. Arya was the only one who struck out on her own. I mean, she left and went to Bravos on her own. She came back across the Narrow Sea on her own. She didn't have someone holding her hand. And granted, she had great teachers. I mean, she had her father, and then she also had Serial Pharrell. She had the Hound, who taught her how to survive. And in a small way, she even had Tywin Lannister. Now this is just a show thing, but together, I mean, he was maybe not the greatest person in the world, but he was not a stupid man, and she could learn a great deal from him just by listening to his conversations. She was there for his meetings and things, and surely she picked up some things. So she's had some great teachers, even if they were inadvertent teachers along the way. And uh, then when she gets to the house of the faceless men, and she learns stuff there. I think it's my belief that there's a lot being read into her leaving when she left, and the look on his face, on Jaqen H'ghar's face, and so on and so forth. And personally, I think he knew when he saw her the first time who she was, and that she was lost, and that to become who she was meant to be, Arya Stark of Winterfell, and she's going home, she had to become no one to become someone. I think he knew, he could see in her something, and he knew that there were things that she needed to accomplish that she was never going to accomplish if she stayed on this lost road that she was on. And I think that's one of the reasons he smiled when she left. I don't think he's coming after her. I've heard that theory before too, but I honestly think that he knew all along that for her to become who she was meant to be, she was going to have to go down this road of becoming no one, of wiping away everything to start back at the beginning and be who she was supposed to be, Arya Stark of Winterfell. Next, we have day three, my favorite house, and of course that's going to be House Stark. For no, I mean, it's a sentimental choice. I know it's my gushy inside, but I root for these people, and I am partial to House Stark. I can't give you a solid foundation or reason of backing for anything other than I just like this house a lot. Next, we're going to get to day four, and that's my favorite house motto, and of course, it's going to be Winter is Coming, which is, I think, it means a great deal more than just the the obvious winter is coming, be prepared for winter. I think it has a more ancient meaning that even the now Starks are they're aware of the ramifications of winter, but I don't think they understand what it meant in its original coining in the beginning. It was a much more dire thing in the beginning. Um, there's a lot of wonderful house words out there that say a lot about the houses, but this is just a warning for everybody, and I think it was essential that they understood that winter means death, and death is coming. Winter is coming, and I think it means a great deal more than what they think. And I know when Ned was talking to Arya when they had that discussion in season one about her keeping needle, and that the family had to stick together. She was a summer child and she didn't know what winter was, and when winter came, they were all going to have to stick together and to survive. And that is true. That is important. But I just feel that this house motto meant a great deal more when it was originally, that winter meant something more then. We move on to day 5, and that's my favorite moment. And this is going to sound kind of odd with all the amazing battle scenes and stuff out there. It's going to seem kind of strange that I picked this particular moment. Tyrion and the dragons. I don't know why this was just a very special moment for me. It was just that feeling of awe and wonder and fear, total fear, but he knew it had to be done and he did it. And the story he told about his name day, and the fact that he'd always wanted a dragon and they told him they didn't exist, and now here it was right in front of him, and the fact that they didn't eat the help was kind of important. But it was just a very special scene to me, and I don't know why. As far as it just spoke to me. Now we move on to day 6 and favorite song. Um, I I'm not very musical. I love music, listening to music, but I'm not a very musical person as such. And while I know that all of the theme songs have names, I don't know them all. The one that they play when and somebody can tell me in the comments, let me know. But the song they play when Danny's on the dragons, I just call it the dragon theme. I don't know what it is, but it just gives me goosebumps. But for no reason other than it just sticks in my head, I've got to the Rains of Castamere, and not because the song is so special or it's so wonderful. It just sticks in your head, and I didn't realize how much until I was doing dishes the other day and realized I was humming it, and I didn't know why. And it's just a catchy tune that sticks in your head, so I'm going to go with that. Now we end up in day 7 and my favorite episode. And here I have to do a split. I couldn't pick between two different episodes, and that's The Battle of the Bastards and The Winds of Winter, season 6, episode 9 and 10. And I've watched it over and over and over, all the different episodes, and they've all got their interesting qualities. But these two episodes, to me, the reason is because they were just cathartic episodes. I mean, you have waited, if you're reading, you've waited years to find out some of this stuff, and for some of these things to be resolved, and for some of these people to get what's coming to them. And if you're watching the show, it's been 6 years. You've been waiting for some of this stuff to happen and to find out some of these things. And for all of this to happen, these two episodes was just, I mean, there's no other word for it for me personally, was just cathartic. Now we're at day 8, and my least favorite male character. And this is hard because I really like all of the characters, even though some of them are evil characters. I still like their portrayals. I like the actors and stuff that portray the characters. And in the books, there's some truly heinous characters that don't make it to TV. But I go with Mace Tyrell, and the only reason for this, it has nothing to do with the character or the actor so very much as the very disappointing way that the show portrays him. He is not the bumbling idiot in the book that he is in the show. The show just makes him look like an incompetent boob, and the book doesn't do that. So that's really my reasoning behind this. It's just the terrible treatment this character got, and I just did not care to see him. I would have been happier if they had just talked about him in the background and not shown him. That brings us to day 9 and my least favorite female character. And I'll probably get some flack for this because I know there's people out there that like this character, but I just don't. And that's Shay. Be it in the book or in the show, either one, I just don't care for her. I just don't like her. Um, I think in the show they portray her as actually truly loving Tyrion. It's just that he did hurt her, and people tend to, especially women, tend to strike back when they're hurt. And, and the fact that Cersei and Tywin caught up with her before she got gone probably had a lot to do with that too. Um, but even before all of that, even before she betrayed him, I didn't like her because she was just whiny and annoying. Now, in the book, I don't think the book portrays her as caring so much about him as she does about the things he can provide for her. And overall, I just don't like her. She annoys me. And again, I know there's people out there who really like this character, and I'm sorry. Not that I don't like her, but that if I said something, I everybody has their own opinions, and this is just mine. And now we move on to day 10, and it's going to be House Stark. And if you didn't realize that by the time you got to this point, after everything I've said so far, hmm, but yes, House Stark. I can't give you a reason. It's a sentimental thing. I like the characters very much. I liked them when I started reading the book, and I liked them when I saw the show. They represent, if there's I realize in Martin's writing there's not so much a perfectly good or perfectly bad. These people, this house represents the good guys, but they're all flawed. They all have flaws, have character flaws, no matter how good they are, and that makes them more real to me somehow. And that's all I have to say for now. I'll have the rest of my 30 days later. Thank you for watching. Please like if you did. Comment, please comment. I want to know what you thought before I go. Being this is my first video, I want all the comments I can get because I want to know what I can do to make them better. And one of the things I realize right now is that I say too many times, and I'll try to work on that. Please give me your opinions, good, bad. If you agree with me, don't agree with me. I want to know everything. I don't want to be Jon Snow and know nothing. I want to know everything. Thank you. See you later. Bye.